Hi everybody and welcome back to Weoley Tropicals, coming to you midway through our glorious heat wave. It's the hottest that I've ever known it. However, it's probably more likely because I'm in the garden, doing more gardening now. Like I wasn't doing that before, that I'm noticing it now, but it feels brutal. The garden's a bit of a tale of two halves. Some of the things are struggling to find the will to live. Some things are wilting, some things are fading fast. Some things are absolutely gasping. Enough about me, and I'll start talking about the plants. So some of the things, as you can see now, are doing absolutely fantastic, but there's been a few casualties, some things that have not enjoyed the tropical sunshine like you would imagine. So I'm going to run through all the new garden changes and show you what we've been doing, as well as talk about maybe a few other projects that are coming soon as well. So without further waffle, let's get at it. So I'll take you into the shady area first, which is one of my new favourite plants that I've grown from seed. They're papaya. That one's called Red Lady, and the leaves on that are absolutely stunning. So if you want to know how to grow that one from seed, check out one of my videos that I've just done on exactly how to do that. So in the brand new area that we've got, just built the rattan furniture. Just need to build the table. We have the shade loving plants underneath the pergola, which has tinted plastic on it, so you don't have to wear sunglasses underneath there. The plants under here at the back is quite a large Monstera deliciosa, which makes you feel like I'm in the jungle. Now I've been sat there. Next to it is the Marcella Alessio Carpa, which is beautiful. It's a golden lotus banana, I think it is, something along those lines. The Fatsia Spider's Web has never looked better, as I said in the last video, and it's got even better since then. Extremely ghostly. It's kept the white on there. Usually they mature a little bit greener than that when I've had them before, but so far it's holding on to the white variegations. Had that all year. And again, the canna, I think it's called Tokahimi, something like that, is on the end, looking a little bit droopy because it needs a water, which has been the story of the last few weeks. But all in all, really happy with the new look. Give you a bit of a spin around through the mess of the construction at the moment, and I'll tidy it up before we move on. So hopefully you can see from here this absolutely sensational Musabastu. This was the first plant that I ever really got. It was from B&M. It was £6.50 and it was a rescue one. The only reason that I bought it was I hadn't kind of got the tropical bug right then, but it was dying. It had brown leaves. I will put an overlay on the screen, and that's what started all of this, was this one plant, and it's going to fruit at the moment. So this was an absolute aspiration of mine when I first started to try and get a banana to fruit in Birmingham, and everybody that I've ever spoke to about the banana says, does it grow bananas? And look at this thing. Yes, it does. They are monocarpic, which means that that stem will die back to the ground. That is its life cycle over. So I felt a little bit emotional about that because I've nurtured this thing. I was never good with plants or anything. I couldn't keep anything green alive before, and this was the one thing that always kind of kept me going. So although I've achieved the goal that I've wanted, now I've got there, I wish I kind of hadn't. So it's been a bit of a weird one with that one. I don't know if you've ever had that where you've kind of really fallen for like a plant and now it's done its full life cycle. You achieve your goal, and I kind of wish I'd failed. I wish it was just got another year or so in it. I'll take you in so you can have a look at it emerging, and then on the subsequent videos I will run through all the progress on it as well, and see if we can actually, have we got enough season for it to actually get tangible bananas. I know, I think from what I saw online, I think a lot of the Musa seeds come with like really, the banana fruit actually comes with loads of rock hard seeds in it, hence why they're not edible. I can't stand actually eating bananas, but if this thing actually does bear banana and it's edible, I will give it a go just to kind of taste the success of growing something for 5 years. And let me have a little look inside. So as you can see there, from the bit that's emerging, that popped out over 2 nights. The first night was the main part that you can see on there now, and then the second day it's kind of completely opened. I'll take you so I can get you a little bit closer. It is full of wasps, but as you can see, it's a very interesting plant. And like I say, I'm genuinely gutted because it's such an iconic plant in my garden. As you can see from there, it's towering above everything else. However, I wanted to create a banana grove, so my understanding is it will pop loads from the base next year. So rather than me having 2 there, I might end up with 5 or 10 or something. If you know, don't forget to put it in the comments as well. And for those that believe in destiny or fate, would you believe it? I went to B&M today. Look what I found. Absolutely abused was the badge due. So I had a word with them. Down from £6.50 down to £1.50. All of the growth points, as you can see from there, are all snapped. I've cut these back up, what I felt on the screen of exactly as I found these, that they'd clearly fallen off one of the top things. There was no soil inside of them. So it's odd how things come around. As I said, this was the first plant. This is how I found it originally. This is what started all this off. I was pining. I was a little bit down in the dumps after my star plant. I decided to go to fruit, and now we start the journey again. So any of you that believe in fate or destiny, I feel like this has got something to be said here as I start the journey again now with another 5. So carry on with the tour. Thought it was really funny because I went up to the manager of the B&M store and I said, can I have a chat with you about the garden section? He says, I know what you're going to say, I know what you're going to say. He didn't know what I was going to say. And he goes, I've had everybody moaning about the state of my plants. Almost everything there was reduced and they're basically struggling keeping up the water. They said they've had a load of people shouting at them. So don't be shouting at them if that's one of you. Like, yes, they should be watering the plants and all the rest of it, but we can bring them back. And as I said, they're only allowed to water so often. There was all like fancy little mats, like wick up the water and stuff, and they were all just bone dry. I don't think they could keep on top of the amount of water that it's needed, because the one by me, it was an absolute sun trap. I mean, really, they should be using shade netting or something by now, because the amount of money that they're losing on those plants. I just thought it was funny, as soon as I said to him about the garden, he was fully aware that I think they just had an absolute beating on there. But good for me, I've got a brand new set of 5 bananas. They'll bounce back in a couple of weeks. They'll be absolutely sound, and I've saved myself an absolute fortune. So on with the tour. So this miscanthus here, giganteus by name and giganteus by nature, is absolutely huge. Don't get fooled with this though. They feel, because they're feather-like, it feels like every single year when I've tried to pull these out of the ground when they died back, it's ripped through my fingers like a razor blade. There's something on it, some type of coating or something on it, that makes this absolutely lethal. You would think that I'd learn, but every single year it seems to catch me out. But this thing is absolutely towering. It's had no feed at all and hardly any water, because it's one of the areas that the sprinkler doesn't seem to get to. It's a bit of a funny shape, the garden. But this has done extremely well. Just cut it back every single year, but what a fantastic plant. Hence why I've used it throughout the garden now. I've got quite a few of these. Hopefully I'm not covered in spiders now, because otherwise you might see me pegging it through the fence. But what an absolutely outstanding grass. It's ridiculously sized. So let me show you the rest of the garden. So the palm tree, completely ignored everybody earlier in the year, and I moved it because I decided it was getting moved. I was told time and time again it wasn't the right time, but it's showing absolutely no signs of any damage at all. No brown tipping, looks absolutely healthy. So I've either gotten away with murder, pulled a miracle, or I was right to just go with my gut on that one, because I think it looks fantastic. I'm sure people are going to tell me that the damage might come out in subsequent years or blah blah blah, but for now I'm happy. It's the little things in life. Here is one of those plants that's like grows like magic beans. It's just a ridiculous sized plant, Euphorbia John Phillips. I absolutely fluked that. I just put it in. I knew it was the wrong place for it to go, but actually it's turned out to be the right place for it to go. It's took the complete, I had straight edges going through the garden, so I was going for a bit of a Taj Mahal vibe, and it's completely eradicated that, and now made the garden journey down there far better, aesthetically more pleasing. I don't like the straight lines in the garden. It's not that type of garden. Works with very modern gardens, I imagine, but I'm so glad that I put that plant there against better judgment. Just for a time being, I just wanted it in the ground because it kept drying out in the pot, and it's been fantastic. One of the weird ones down here is the Chimerops humilis, which again, everybody's like they're hardy as anything, but it just looks destroyed. It doesn't look good at all. I keep hearing a load of popping as well when I'm around here. I don't know if it's any of these seed pods as well. Can you hear that? There's some type of like exploding going on. I've got a feeling that's how they disperse their seed. I don't know. I have to do a bit of research. Anyone know about that? I know some of the seeds have that kind of ballistic way, but I can keep hearing it like exploding. Going on, I don't know. I'm going to stay away from it just in case I've got some type of weird euphoria. I don't know what's going on with that one, but I can definitely hear like, it's almost like, you know, when someone's like doing popcorn. Okay, further research required with whatever's going on with that one. And then I've got Tarrant up there, Buddleia, which I know a lot of people don't traditionally plant because these things will grow throughout the city in any crack. I've seen them from a workplace roof growing in guttering and things like that one. That one's called globosa. It has like little kind of orange, yellowy shaped little balls on them, which are quite interesting. I'm gonna have to figure out what on earth was that exploding going on. It's stopped now, typically as soon as I addressed it. Over this section, this is the section where I've been watching a tropical garden over in, I think it's Guyana, and the plants that she has over there are absolutely fantastic. I've commented on a video a couple of times, and it really made me know that I was playing with tropical plants over in this, because they've got like calathea and loads of things that we would have to keep indoors all the time in the garden. So what I learned from that one, a couple of tips I took as well from other people, is to try and take the edges off and to have things that are bigger overhanging the lawn. So again, I've gone for more of the feather ones, because a lot of the paradise gardens that I was looking at had more feather-like palms in them. So I've gone for that one again, under the Phoenix canariensis for a tenner. You can't go wrong with that. And again, I've got it overhanging the lawn. I've got this Assam orange overhanging the lawn. I planted this Trachycarpus right on the edge, stupid or not, that's fine. It has got really kind of whitish, silverish undersides. I've not had a small Trachycarpus like that before, so I don't know if they've given me like some fancy one or whether that's just how they emerge. Hopefully one of you palm experts can let me know if that's just how they always grow. I put in here one of the only cordyline australis that I managed to separate successfully. The other ones just seem to like wilt down to nothing, but that one again, somewhat bigger at the front, that will kind of come up and over, and Miscanthus giganteus as well. The Persicaria does a fantastic job of again getting rid of those straight lines. It kind of scrambles, really does its own thing. And finally, one of the Crocosmia there, that's actually got a flower on it. One thing I did notice, I've got a lot of other things in there like Mahonia and a couple of cordylines and stuff as well. Again, another Canna muscifolia over there. And just before we go, I'll show you the fern area. I've never seen Crocosmia as big as this. So that Crocosmia there is at least 5 foot tall. It's got no evidence of any flowers on it or anything yet. I think it was Lucifer, certainly when I put it in, but I don't know, I've never seen them as tall as that. So it either loves it or it's stretching for the light. This was the new area that I did, because after I remember I ripped out the nice palm tree, the one that I put in the middle of the garden, it left a major hole. So I spoke to Rich and put in some of these hardy ferns, which are now motoring away with like the little Mahonia inside of there as well. Again, because I'm absolutely in love with them. I've got an Acanthus mollis in there, and there's about 6 in there, because when you divide them they kind of just grow, hence why people struggle to get rid of them, because they're quite thuggish. And then it wouldn't be one of my garden sections without another Fatsia polycarpa. At the back I have got a variegated Fatsia, so it's kind of like a nice little shady area. And then I'm hoping that the palm that I've always referred to as being the ugly sister, now it's got a lot more shade. Hopefully that has a flush next year and it doesn't continue with its like 5-6 year mood that it's been in since I planted it. So not a bad little walk around the garden in my own opinion. I thought I'd kind of pan up there because I do borrow a lot of that landscape behind me from, I think there used to be like an alleyway or something at the back of the house, and these are all planted to kind of eliminate that. And it's brilliant to have like a borrowed landscape, which I think really makes my garden feel a little bit maybe more mature than it is. I think I'm into like the 5th year now, but those trees at the back are absolutely towering. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It keeps me spurred on to keep walking around the garden in these heat waves and filming some stuff. I have slowed down a little bit on it because I've just run out of ideas of what to film. I'm trying to get out to some of the unknown gardens, things that don't go on YouTube, things that aren't posting regularly on there, just so I can kind of show you some of the things as well. So like the video, hope the video, and if you got the time, don't forget to leave a comment. But thanks for watching, truly appreciated. Thank you.